the national chairman of the People's Democratic Party, PDP, Prince Uche Secondus, has dragged the Minister of Information and Culture, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, to court for defamation of character. The minister had mentioned Prince Secondus in the list of those he claimed looted the nation's treasury, alleging that they collected the sum of 200 million naira from the former National Security Advisor, the NSA. Secondus said he never collected a dime from the former NSA and asked the minister for immediate retraction and public apology within 48 hours. The minister failed to do so. Well, that's perhaps what we understand, and a lawsuit is now in place. Well, these are Uche Secondus' demands. He's asking the court to award to him the sum of 1.5 billion being damages for humiliation. In the suit, he claimed that Lai Mohammed's publication is defamatory and asking the court to direct him to retract the said publication and apologize in writing. He's also asking that the retraction and apology be published in all the social media, including but not limited to the following newspapers: The Nation, This Day newspapers, Sun, Guardian, and Punch, as well as in the television station that have been used for the story. Secondus is also asking the court for a perpetual injunction restraining the defendant from further publishing defamatory materials against him. So then, let's get a sense of what this all means altogether, especially on the issues of anti-corruption war and the kind of reaction we were getting for those whose name are on the alleged looters list. Joining me tonight is a lawyer, Mr. Monday Ubani. He joins us to discuss this matter tonight. Many thanks for your time on the program tonight.
Sure, my pleasure.
What does this mean? When a case is in court,
yes,
so we understand, and the federal government has said, look, these are the list of those who perhaps, according to them, allegedly looted the treasury. But they are reacting by going to court to sue for defamation.
You initiated it. It was on this television. You brought somebody who was challenging APC government that if they have the names of the alleged looters, that they should go ahead and publish it. And so I think the following day, you are also, I think you were there, you broke the news also. Lai Mohammed, who happens to be the Minister of Information and Culture, started reading out the list. But a lot of people were disappointed with that list because already these are people that were already in court for alleged looting, and they have not been convicted. And the list also fell short of expectation. People were expecting a very large list, you know, and all that. We're also arguing why now. Because I know a body like Serap, I've always asked for this list, and this list were never disclosed. So why are you releasing the list at this point in time? And then why releasing those already being tried by the court and they have not been convicted? You know, I know that somebody like Secondus was not has not been charged, and he threatened that, look, he never taken any money from any person, and then mentioning his name was clearly defamatory, and he has actually made good his threat by going to court to ask for 1.5 billion naira damages.
I mean, defamation,
yes,
that kind of lawsuit from history of legal practice in Nigeria, what does it amount to? Yeah,
it has to do with reputation. It's a tortious liability. It's a branch of law called tort, law of tort. If somebody makes a statement or an allegation against you that actually does some level of damage to your reputation, and people, the general public, begin to view you as somebody that is bad, and it lowers your reputation and personality, you, who is actually the aggrieved party, has the right to sue that individual who has actually communicated that information. It could be oral, it could be written against you, but it must be communicated to a third party. If it's communicated to the same person, there is no defamation. But if it's communicated to 2 or 3 persons and older, then you can bring an action against that individual. Now, there are defenses. Truth is a complete defense in the action of defamation. If it's actually true that what the person has said, you know, is something that you cannot contradict, then it's a complete defense. You know, that's what we call qualified privilege. Those of you who work in the press, you can disseminate information because you owe the public that particular responsibility. So you can also bring such a defense. There are defenses available, but the most important thing is an action that has to do with reputation. If you feel that your reputation has been damaged as a result of the communication the person has done against you, and which now has brought your reputation, lower in the eyes of the public, then you have a right to go to court.
So, but can someone be called an alleged looter?
Yes.
When a case is in court?
That is the point. When it's alleged. When you use the word alleged, means it has not been proven in court. It is when it is proved, you cannot call the person a looter.
But when you say alleged looter,
that's why the language of alleged. And I hear you guys most time in the television and radio, you are careful. You don't make sure that somebody is this. You say allegedly, meaning that it has not been proven. It's somehow, it is a court that actually will make the pronouncement as to whether you can actually brand somebody a looter. I don't know how you use it, whether you use alleged.
Because that word looter is what some of the people whose names are on that list are fighting.
Yes.
So if you say I'm a looter, you are saying that I went and I took everything in the coffers and I stole it. Those are some of the
let me talk like a lawyer. If you call me a looter and I have not been pronounced guilty by the court,
alleged looter. If you are called an alleged looter.
Well, if you call me an alleged looter, then there is, the person is alleged.
Can there be a cover in court?
That can be. When you say alleged, because you are not saying it with all amount of,
authority.
Beautiful, that you are sure that this person has actually committed that crime. But when you say looter, these are the list of looters. It's a different ballgame entirely, because it's only the court that can make such a pronouncement that somebody is guilty. And as long as the court has not in any way convicted an individual, then you have no right whatsoever to call that person an armed robber, a looter, or a thief.
If you look at the premise of perhaps, I don't know if my producer can bring us that videotape. It was on Channels Television here when the PDP challenged the APC to come out with names and stop banding figures and all of that. And it did happen here when the PDP said, we challenge you to come out with names. So if that happens, and that's perhaps a premise. So if the PDP said that and APC responded, could there be any form of bad blood in all of this? Because a lot of people will say,
yes,
you said we should come out with this, but we have come up with this.
He may come up with that, but that is politics. In the realms of law, it's a different ballgame entirely. But when you're playing politics, it's a different ballgame. In the realms of politics, you can, you challenge yourself, you can make allegations and all that. It's been done. APC did it. While PDP, heads were, there were so many things said at that point in time, which ordinarily, if PDP had actually gone to court over all those statements that were made then, I know the court, would have been filled with all those manner of cases, defamatory cases and all that. But when you come to law, then you got to be careful, because the law must take its course. If you call me not an alleged looter, you call me a looter, and I have not been convicted.
And the principle of law here, especially criminal cases, you are guilty until
you are not guilty until the court pronounces you otherwise.
The honors now fall on the person who alleges.
But as I said earlier, in defamation matter, there are defenses. It is actually true, and the minister has proof that Secondos actually collected 200 million naira as alleged from the National Security Advisor, and he has proof to tender in court and say, look at the evidence. We have examined the books. This money was given to this man, and he has not accounted for it and all that. So that can be a complete defense to the defamatory matter.
The minister will have a lot of defenses. Yeah, because a lot of people are coming out with defamation cases.
Yeah,
at least that we know, a lot of threats had come from some of those whose name appeared.
That's right.
They're going to court.
That's right.